I'm RJ Vijaya with a brand new edition of Neurodiversity with Dr. Banerjee, brought to you by Landmark College, a college designed exclusively for students who learn differently, including students with learning disabilities such as dyslexia, ADHD, autism, or executive function challenges. This series seeks to awaken us to the natural differences that are within all of us, and helping us take a deep dive into the world of neurodiversity is our friend and guide through it all, Dr. Manju Banerjee, Landmark College Learning Disabilities and Neurodiversity Ambassador at Large. Welcome once again, Dr. Banerjee. Super
It is
having you on.
such a pleasure to be talking with you, Vijaya. Looking
Thank
forward
you.
to our session.
Same here. So, Dr. Banerjee, our topic for today is managing expectations that parents tend to have from their neurodiverse children. And frankly, it could apply and does apply to all children, dare I say it. But we often hear kids say that my parent wants me to become a doctor or an engineer, but I want to go into films or fashion design, right? And that's very common in the South Asian community as well. So, can you discuss this issue of parental expectations among South Asian community at large?
Yeah, great question. So, what I would start off by saying is that culture plays a big role here. And for many Southeast Asian parents, they are first generation immigrants and they're influenced by what their parents expected of
Yeah,
them. And they then start expecting the same of their kids. And they also firmly believe that they know best.
yeah,
They know what is best for their kids. This is a very um, cultural characteristic of the
true.
Southeast Asian community.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's a lot of pressure on the parents, which even the kids don't realize, to maintain their homeland heritage, or
Mm.
for Indian parents to maintain their Indianness. They want to give their students what their children, what perhaps they did not get or have time for as they were growing up. But what it can result in is to create some conflict. I'll give you an example from a personal situation with my family.
Mm-hmm.
For years, I took my daughters on Sunday to Indian language classes.
Uh-huh.
It used to be held at a community center here. And the girls didn't want to do the homework, didn't want to go there. And I kept on persisting because I felt it's really important that you learn about your culture. And finally, I think most parents realize you have to pick your battles.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot fight everything.
Yeah.
This is your adopted country. You are now, if you are, a citizen of the United States of America.
Mm-hmm.
To try to find that balance of expectations that you have with your kids and the cultural expectations that you impose on them. Find that balance. Don't fight every battle. And I would say the biggest thing is all don't embarrass them.
Mm-hmm. Very
So
true. Yeah.
I've had children talk to me about my mother insists on packing an Indian lunch. It's really embarrassing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so, so it's really important that we navigate these expectations together,
Yeah.
but being alert as parents to what our children are going through in school and not
Yes.
make it more difficult for them.
Yeah, there's a whole sea change, right, that is there in the circumstances, in the atmosphere that you are in now. Though I think parents too are in some kind of a time warp, back home. So, their mind is back there and their body is here, kind of thing. So, yes, that does create problems, and one has to learn to move ahead with that, right? So,
Right.
folks, if you're just joining us, you're listening to Neurodiversity with Dr. Banerjee, brought to you by Landmark College, championing the cause of neurodiversity in education. Landmark College offers academic coaching, LD support, technology, online and in-person programs and summer programs. It's fully accredited for students who learn differently. You can find out more about their Success Center right here in the Bay Area at landmark.edu/success center, or you can also call them at 408-475-3323. That's 408-475-3323. And of course, they're headquartered at Putney in Vermont, but we have a wonderful success center right here in the Bay Area. So, Dr. Banerjee, how can parents really manage this academic competitiveness that is seen, which is a mark of South Asian communities, I'd say? Temple Grandin, the renowned author and speaker, she warned parents in having high but reasonable expectations, right? But where South Asian community parents are concerned, that seems to be a little bit of a problem. And everything creative and artistic seems to be on the back burner, as it were. So, how do you deal with this?
Yeah, yeah. So, in the Southeast Asian community, like you said, academic success and doing well academically is almost a given.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I do my job as a parent and I do my job at work well. Uh, in most cases, that's the expectation. And you're a student, and student's job is to do well academically. So it is really not an unrealistic expectation from the point of view of the parent.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the issue. As individuals, we have so many dimensions to who we are. And academics is only one such dimension. So I always tell my parents, don't measure your child's success by a unilateral dimension of academics.
Mm.
And I would tell my parents, don't judge, a grade or a score is not your child's destiny.
Yeah.
Don't be so disappointed. For example, if your high schooler didn't get into an Ivy League college. It's what is really important is to
Yeah.
and find out and see what does your child excel in other than just your standard academics.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say this.
Yeah.
Basic reading, writing, math is important. I am
Mm-hmm.
not saying you don't have to focus on that.
Yeah.
But if your child is interested in films and movies, then maybe that could be an interest or a hobby while they're
Mm-hmm.
still a student. And you can encourage it as long as it doesn't take over their life.
Yeah.
So finding that balance, having that communication, and not being so kind
Rigid.
persuaded, yeah, by
Mm-hmm.
the academic competitiveness
Yeah.
is really important for parents, especially parents of neurodiverse students.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, having that idea that it's not just one dimensional and that's academics, but a multifaceted
Yeah,
personality, right?
yeah, that's what
That
who
you
we
want to
are.
develop, and hone all of those skills. So
Yes.
there you have it, folks, offering a vibrant and personalized educational experience for students with learning disabilities through a variety of majors, online and summer programs, and supporting the transition at college. Landmark College is based in Vermont and has its Success Center right here in San Mateo. So check them out at landmark.edu/success center and call them today at 408-475-3323. And of course, you're listening to this excellent conversation with Dr. Banerjee about the managing the expectations that we parents tend to have with our children in general, and of course neurodiverse children in particular. How really to change that, the way you look at things, and to really rein in those expectations and let the child flower in their own capacity. So another dimension that I wanted to put to you was knowing how to praise. That is a difficult concept for many Asian parents. They tend to be a little miserly when it comes to praising their child. And I don't know whether they want to be, the iron hand in the velvet glove or what it is, but they want to look very stern and not very grudging in the way they express their praise. So do you have any suggestion for how or when they could praise, they need to praise that child?
Yeah, wow, you hit upon a really great point. And again, it's important to understand as we are discussing parental
Yeah,
issues is the cultural overlay. And in many cultures, kids don't say, I mean, parents don't say thank you and you did a wonderful job. It's just not part of their culture. And
yeah,
in many Southeast Asian families, if a kid got an A, you showed it to them, and dad might nod his head. It's an expectation that you'll get that A,
yeah.
uh, but may not say, "Wow, what a great job you did."
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So my suggestion is that, and the literature, research literature supports this. Uh, uh, find a way to praise the act, the action, or the outcome, not the
mm-hmm,
individual. Because if you praise just the individual, it puts a lot of pressure on the kid for the next time. And what if I don't do as well next time? Then my father or my mother will think less of me.
mm-hmm.
So the way to praise is to find the particular act, whether it was a report that they wrote or whether it was a project that they did, and be specific. What do you like about the project? What do you like about the report? The point is that many Southeast Asian parents don't understand neurodiversity,
Yeah.
and many are uncomfortable talking about it. So to find ways to praise their kids becomes particularly difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, what I suggest is, praise doesn't have to be just words.
Yeah.
Praise can be actions that show that you're proud of your son or daughter.
Mm-hmm.
That is so important.
Yeah.
Perhaps the biggest action is to let your kid know that you're there for them when the chips are down or they're feeling low or they haven't done well or they failed the test, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's just knowing that
Yeah.
my father or mother is there and supports me is
But
a
sometimes it's important to verbalize that, right?
both. You
Yeah.
can verbalize for sure, but if it's difficult for Southeast Asian community parents, then just being there, letting them know that you support them and that next time might be different is really important. But most important takeaway
Yeah.
for praise is read up on neurodiversity.
Mm.
Learn more about what it means to be neurodiverse. And programs like Radio Zindagi and Landmark College are really leading the way in educating the
Yes.
South Asian community about neurodiversity.
Absolutely. Empower yourself with the knowledge, and that'll really guide the way or lead the way into what you need to do, what right by the child, right?
Yes,
Hmm.
exactly.
I
So,
loved what you said about praise the act, the action, and the outcome, right?
mhm, mhm,
That.
mhm.
Hmm. So
Yeah,
that if you go by that, if you maintain that thought, I think that can make a huge difference in how you approach. You're really empowering the child as well.
yeah.
So there you have it, empowering students, transforming education. That's Landmark College. It's a community designed exclusively for students who learn differently, including students with a learning disability like dyslexia, autism, ADHD, or even executive function challenges. And they're right here in the Bay Area. Tap them at landmark.edu/success center or call them today at 408-505-4170. So, Dr. Banerjee, can one avoid this parental expectations trap? Because parents often feel that it's their right and their responsibility to tell the kids what to do, how to do it, and this is the way or the highway. So, how do you,
Yeah.
change that or alter it?
Yeah, so I think it's really important for parents to realize that when you set expectations, and particularly your expectations onto your kids, and they don't meet up or measure up to those expectations, it really affects the emotional and mental well being of the
Mm-hmm.
child, and especially over time. And it causes stress, it can cause depression in kids, and can really lower self esteem. What we know from research is that children can feel depressed even at younger and younger ages. Because I remember growing up
Yeah.
and, aunties and others talking about, oh, why does she have a headache? She's 5 years old.
Mm.
Or talking about another kid saying, somebody might be saying, oh, she seems to be depressed or is depressed and is seeing a therapist. Oh my God. A counselor or a therapist is a bad word in the
Yeah.
Southeast Asian community. They do
Yes.
not want to see a counselor or a psychiatrist or anything. But please remember that kids, even as young as 5 years old, can get depressed.
Mm.
And parental expectations can be one of the contributing factors. I'm not saying it's the only contributing factor,
Yeah.
but it is one of the contributing factors. So what can you do differently? As parents, it's really important that we give guidance rather than directives. Number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, that we avoid what I call emotional blackmail. Saying things like, why can't you be more like your cousin?
Mm.
Or, so and so.
Comparisons. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Those kinds of comparisons, avoid those. And last but not least, as a parent, be kind to yourself. There's no blame here.
Yeah.
It's not a blame game. I should have done this differently, or I should have. No, don't be hard on yourself. Go with the flow, be flexible,
Yeah.
and kind of regulate your expectations. But again, I come back to how you do that is by learning more about neurodiversity.
Mm-hmm. The
Yeah,
more you learn, the more you know, and the more you're equipped to deal with the situation, right?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, there's no substitute to that. I think there is a lot of awareness today, but it's still wanting where neurodiversity is concerned, right? So the way
Yeah,
to do is just to really, and I'm glad we're doing this series and hoping it's helping a lot of people out there. Hmm.
yeah. It needs to filter down from being an abstract or a theoretical concept,
Yes,
neurodiversity, to
yes,
actually how do you apply that knowledge in the
yeah,
day-to-day interactions with
yes,
kids.
yeah, practically, right. Hmm. So, folks, you're listening to Neurodiversity with Dr. Banerjee, brought to you by Landmark College, combining research based learning strategies and academic support to prepare students for the rigors of college level work. And Landmark College is, of course, based in Vermont with a terrific success center right here in San Mateo, California. And you can find out more about them by visiting landmark.edu/success center or call them today at 408 475 3323. And we are having this excellent conversation with our subject matter expert on neurodiversity, Dr. Banerjee, who's been really kind through the series, really getting us up close and personal with everything neurodiversity related. And we're talking about a very important topic to do with expectations that we all tend to have. And that really, is not just to do with neurodiverse children, but even in your general life, to have those expectations, to rein them down, and to really manage them well. And we're getting those, a little bit of hand holding on how to go about that. So, Dr. Banerjee, do you have, concrete suggestions, strategies for addressing situations where both parents and children feel disappointed that their expectations are not being met? And for instance, what advice would you have for children who feel, parents who feel disappointed that, like we started the show with, the child wants to pursue a more artistic or creative endeavor like films or fashion, and they want them to go just the other way, you know, into an academic pursuit.
Absolutely. You know, when people are feeling disappointed in each other, whether parents feeling disappointed in their children or children feeling disappointed that they're not able to live up to their parents' expectations, situations like this take time.
Mm-hmm.
There is no magic pill that I can share here on this radio talk show that will change everything around.
Yeah, just magic wand that
Yeah,
works.
yeah, that unfortunately none
Yeah.
of us have that. But what we do have is patience. and we can kind of work towards a common goal where we're not disappointed. So I think one of the things to do, be careful about, is the language that you use in talking when
Mm-hmm.
kids are disappointed and you're disappointed. And we as parents, especially Southeast Asian community parents, we often talk about, well, if you only studied harder. And there is really no concept of studying hard. How do you study hard versus how do you study soft? There isn't any such approach.
Yeah.
In fact, I would recommend, if it's possible, this is many years ago, but Mr. Rick Lavoie, he's a very well-known educator in the field of special ed, produced this video it's called Fat City, FAT, Frustration, Anxiety, Tension.
Uh-huh.
But it talks about how, you know, you cannot study harder. He talks about in this video about a doctor
Mm.
telling a sick child who's in the hospital, look, here's a $10 bill. I'll give you this $10 if you can bring your fever down.
Oh,
Okay, it's the same thing.
yeah.
So, but the other thing is, even with studying harder, parents often tend to equate that to spending more time,
Mm.
and they're disappointed when their kids are spending time with the kid, other kids, or video games, and so on.
Yeah.
Remember, spending more time in front of the table or the screen with books doesn't necessarily transfer to academic success. So
Mm-hmm.
don't use the word try. You're not trying hard enough.
Yeah.
Another thing is, it's really important. I think I mentioned this before when I talked about emotional blackmail. You don't want to say, why can't you be like so and so?
Mm.
Try to be like this particular cousin, etc. Don't make those comparisons.
Comparisons. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The important thing for parents to remember is, even when it seems like the kids are not listening to you, they actually are listening. Even teenagers
Yeah.
who remain in their room with their door closed half the time, they are still listening.
Mm-hmm.
They do need guidance.
Yeah.
And when you're able to make that communication, even if it's small steps, that's the way you start coming out of that situation when both parties are feeling depressed or
Mm-hmm.
feeling disappointed, is perhaps the better word.
Yeah.
What I have heard one of my students say, Dr. Banerjee, I need to hit rock bottom.
Mm.
I needed to hit rock bottom before I came out of this.
Oh.
So it's especially with some of our students with ADHD,
Mm-hmm.
it feels like they need to find their own way out of feeling disappointed.
Yeah.
And they need to understand for themselves when it is the right time to start then changing their lives and
Mm-hmm.
bringing about a change in
Yeah.
how they do things. I'm
Right.
going to recommend two resources, which I think
Okay.
are really important viewing for the parents in
Mm.
this audience. And they're two videos, and I've been involved with both of them. One is called Road Trip Nation,
Mm-hmm.
and the other is called Normal Isn't Real.
Okay.
And Normal Isn't Real is a fascinating, it's just riveting.
Yeah.
They follow four adults now, all four with learning
Mm-hmm.
disabilities and other related neurodiverse challenges, and how these, some of them, were ready to just give up and didn't even want to be seen, did not
Yeah.
listen to the parents. This one kid in particular left the home,
Mm-hmm.
went to California, lived in the streets for a couple of years. He said, he too said, I needed to hit rock bottom.
Oh.
So
Mm-hmm.
be patient. Uh,
Yeah.
let the kids know you're there for them no matter what. And there will be a time where you will see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
And all kids, including neurodiverse kids in particular,
Yeah.
have skills and strengths. I just invite my parents in the audience to patiently find that.
Mm-hmm.
Find
Mm-hmm.
those skills, and
Yeah.
that will create for a very successful and happy relationship, whether it happens when the kid is 21 or when the kid is 10 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow, this has been excellent. I can actually, it's like an aha moment going off, in terms of how parents can really introspect, and this topic of expectations, which really hangs heavy on most South Asian parents' minds. So, thank you so much, Dr. Banerjee. It's great to have this opportunity to talk through it, not just this topic, but all of our topics in the series, and really enjoyed these conversations. So thank you so much for the very constructive suggestions on staying informed, staying empowered, and always remembering that neurodiversity truly matters.
Absolutely. I just want to extend my personal thank you to Radio Zindagi, and in particular to you. It has been such a pleasure, and I have thoroughly enjoyed your questions and the way you've guided each of these sessions. Thank you, Vijaya.
Thank you so much, Dr. Banerjee. And folks, that's Landmark College on hand to help you every step of the way. If you are a neurodiverse student or the parent of one, visit landmark.edu/success center to learn more about them, and especially the Success Center in the Bay Area and the college in Vermont as well. 408-475-3323 is their number. And join us for other sessions every Thursday, 3:30 p.m. Enlightening sessions of neurodiversity with Dr. Banerjee, brought to you by Landmark College. For now, I'm Archie Vijaya. Keep listening to Radio Zindagi. Ji Eja.